YouTube? I hope everybody had an awesome week this week. You already know what time it is. It is Friday. It is the best day of the week. And my God, I've been saying this since the New Year started. We are on chapter 2 of 2024. If you haven't already made progress on your New Year's resolution, what are you doing? I mean, come on. But, hey, that's not the point here. The point is, it is a new week. It is a new episode. All right? So, before we get into today's episode, I want to give a big shout out to True Victory, baby. All you got to do, yes, sir. I see you, Jake the Snake. I'm going to bring him on soon. But all you got to do is click the link in the description of this video. And all you got to do is type in No Mercy Sports 15. That's No Mercy Sports, all caps, followed by the number 15. True Victory, baby. Let him know I sent you. And now it's time for the most uncensored, uncut, and unfucking filtered sports talk show you will find on YouTube. Without further ado, let's get into today's episode of No Mercy Sports. Yeah!
Nobody can stop me now.
As you know, I do me. Again, this is the most uncut, unfiltered, and unfucking censored sports talk show you will find on YouTube. Now, before we get into today's episode, man, oh man, I want to welcome the regular of today's show. He's big, he's spicy, he's got some good picks. Please help me welcome to the stage, fucking Spicy Big Mac. How you doing,
What's
baby?
up?
Woo!
Yeah! MVP! 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 God damn, it was a great night for me.
Well, you know, I would be the MVP, but unlike Lamar Jackson, I'm gonna actually add some playoff wins to my fucking resume.
Look, I completely understand. I completely understand. For me, it's yes, I'm happy he did win one game this year. Mm-hmm. Okay, we got our feet wet. He's got one. Okay, absolutely. I thought the same thing before. We lost to the Titans. The following year, we beat the Titans, and then we lost.
Hey, Derrick Henry won the game for the Titans.
Yeah, so the following year he was injured. Last year he was injured.
Okay.
So now it's like, you know what I mean? Like I thought we were going to beat Kansas City. We should have ran the fucking ball. There's a lot of excuses, but whatever.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes,
couldn't agree more.
He won. He did win one.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe next year he wins two.
Or like you said, he's what, 2-3 in the playoffs right now?
Yeah.
All right, for sure.
Now I know he's no Peyton Manning, but look at Peyton Manning's first 6 years. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, some quarterbacks are who they are day one when they come in the NFL. Some guys, you look at their first 3 years and you look at their last 3 years when they're 10 years in, and you're like, holy shit, that guy's night and day. And we've seen it with a few different quarterbacks. Like Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson was main in point. You know what I mean?
What was it? Lamar was like the first unanimous MVP of the NFL?
Yeah.
That is so fucking crazy. So I'm not seeing college sports villain, but I do have a new guest on this show today. I saw a video on his TikTok. I reached out to him. He is a good dude. He is the apex predator because He has snake in his vein. He has snake in the name of his sports show. And me being a WWE fan, I know when I see a snake, I know I'll go back to Randy Orton. Please help me welcome to the stage, Jake the Snake Silva. How you doing, buddy?
Doing fantastic, man. Thank you so much for having me up on the show. And you know what, for wrestling fans, isn't it nice to have a little bit of a ring to it like Jake the Snake Roberts, man? I'm coming in and I'm ready to bite some really good takes here today.
Now, let me ask you something. Do you hear voices in your head by any chance?
Oh, man, I'm hearing voices in my head all the time. And it's always usually my prep. Every time when, before a show starts up, I'm like, all right, this is what I got to do. This is what they're telling me. So I got to basically reach out to the fans and basically say, hey, this is what's been on my mind.
Hey, it's like Randy Orton's entrance says, I hear voices in my head, baby.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
All right, so we're going to get into today's first topic. We are starting off with the NBA. I've never been a fan of the NBA since 2020, mostly because of it's COVID. Oh, we're going to kneel during the national anthem. But there's one team that has been on the radar of the Eastern Conference, and that team has been the Philadelphia 76ers. We have been told to trust the process for the last 10 fucking years, and Philadelphia hasn't been able to deliver a damn fucking thing. And that's just with Ben Simmons on the goddamn team and James Harden, for crying out loud. However, the Sixers are up Schitt's Creek without a paddle, as their main star, Joel Embiid, is out due to a meniscus injury. There's no words to describe how fucked the Sixers are as to competing for a championship. What does their chances look like for competing for a championship?
There is none. There's no chance. They cannot compete without Embiid. Embiid is the focal point. He is the process. He is whatever they want to call. Now, can they be competitive and win some tough games? Absolutely. Can they possibly make a playoff run? Kind of. But they're going to be one of the teams where it's going to be first round out. Without Embiid, there's nobody on that team that is that scary. Like Maxey, okay. And who else you got? You got Kelly Oubre. You know what I mean?
Oh my God, they got James Harden, the biggest prima donna in the NBA right now.
I got nothing to say there. I mean, I'd say Kelly Oubre first. Okay, and that's my point. You know, can they be a competitive team? Yeah, maybe. But are they going to have success and win and possibly compete for a ring? Fuck no.
No, absolutely not.
Like it's the competition is too deep, and especially without their best player, and he's the big man. Yeah, there's not much hope.
Yeah, I think this is interesting for, the Philadelphia 76ers. But to correct you, my friend, James Harden is now a part of the LA Clippers, and we're seeing right now with what's going on there. However, I could say this. When was the last time that the 76ers has been in the Eastern Conference Final? That's maybe the closest we should be thinking about before we end up thinking about the NBA Finals. Now, we know the torn meniscus with Joel Embiid is a big, tough loss for the 76ers. But the other part of this is, look at Joel Embiid's track record with injuries. He's been hit with them since he's been in this league, and he's had a couple of good, solid runs. But part of those is I think that was all wasted away by Ben Simmons. So now you're trying to basically, rejuvenate this team. They did earlier during the trade deadline, they did acquire Buddy Hield for Marcus Morris and a couple of draft picks as well. Now, Buddy Hield, I'll say this. Hield is a guy, and I think this was maybe part of their desperation plan because now with Embiid being out with the meniscus, they haven't fully ruled him out quite yet until afterwards we see how they monitor his injury and whether he'll still be playable. But you are going to get a 20 points a night guy in Buddy Hield. I think he is somebody that's going to help to probably distribute the ball for this offense because now Tyrese Maxey, we know they're trying to build that offense around him. But I think Buddy Hield is a good plug-in for them. Now, is it capable to basically going against the Bucks? Maybe not, but based upon experience and history. And the Boston Celtics, I mean, they're the best team in the Eastern Conference right now. Especially the defense. It's hard to kind of explain it. I think the key factor, and I would think what's going to be hard about this, if the 76ers, let's just hypothetically say, they do get past the first round, because the first round is mostly just, up and coming and young players. Now, they could use, and
let's be honest, they can't get past the second round for crying out loud.
That's the other part, but that also depends who they're facing. So let's say this. They face against the Milwaukee Bucks. That might smell trouble for them. And the reason is because the Bucks also in the trade deadline, they acquired Patrick Beverley from the Sixers. So part of that now is Beverley knows how Tyrese Maxey is under pressure. So he's going to be a guy that's going to be such an annoyance, such an offensive disruptor. And that's probably one of the reasons that the Bucks, they got him. They're like, we want to stop Philadelphia in the tracks. So that's going to be one of those key factors that might disrupt the Sixers if, in fact, once getting into the second round, if they can't get past that, we kind of understand what this process has been. This process has been long overdue. They need to throw this away, and they just need to just play pure, hardened basketball. That's really all they got to do.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I mean, like I said, we've been told to trust the process for the last 10 years?
Yeah.
At some point, you need to deliver a championship during that timeline. For crying out loud, Joel Embiid is your centerpiece, and you can barely build around him? What the fuck?
So just to add insult to injury, the day before they traded Marquise Morris, Philadelphia gave him the key to the city.
No.
Yes, sir. I read the article this morning. I was like, no fucking way.
Oh my God.
That is fucked up.
I mean look, at least the Bulls are doing something without Zach LaVine, because it seems like that Zach LaVine seems to be the problem for the Chicago Bulls. But there seems to be a problem on the 76ers, and they can't figure it out.
It's been crazy. I don't know how you kind of explain this. I mean, they've been in a world of shit now for the last few years with this process. What has this process gotten them? This process has gotten them with Jahlil Okafor, clearly a bust. Markelle Fultz gets hurt, and then they don't last this long with him. Joel Embiid gets hurt, and it's
in Orlando or wherever the fuck he's at.
Mark is in Orlando.
Yeah, Markelle Fultz. I mean, and it was just, it kind of sucked because they were so impatient. They didn't give him a chance to, at the very least, build and develop. Because the whole process with NBA, you don't hear about these guys' names until their third, fourth year in the league, because they're not going to develop that fast unless you found out some way to basically, break this process of the one and done year in college. And then you got the mental mindset while you got money flowing around you and, all these endorsements. If they figured out a way, kudos to them. But yeah.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, it really seemed like the combination of Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid was really fixing to work. But because Ben Simmons is such a soft-ass fucking bitch.
It's like, why the fuck are you even playing basketball, first of all? Look, I heard it best from Chiseled Adonis, who was the funniest one breaking this down during the playoffs, where he was just like, you're 6'11". People would be dying to have your height and your talent, and you're telling me you're afraid to shoot?
I would kill to be in the NBA right now, for crying out loud.
I mean, good God, this dude in the playoffs averaged a triple single. What
when Ben Simmons was on the Nets, he was a fucking peacock, for crying out loud.
Oh, God.
Look up his fucking attire that he was wearing during the Celtics series, and it speaks volume.
Yeah. And at the same time, this man had to literally go to a sports psychiatrist to literally encourage this man to shoot.
It's just fucking back problems for crying out loud. Will the real Ben Simmons please stand up?
Hey, a back injury like that, it definitely explains the reason why that him and Kendall Jenner couldn't work, with the fact that once they fornicated, he's too scared to shoot his shot.
I was going to say, we are a different breed here on No Mercy Sports. Like, please do not be hesitant of being honest and as open as possible, my man.
Yeah, no, and that's why I'm like, with Ben Simmons, is just like, dude, you got to put this up. I mean, NBA
really
owners are tired of doing this.
He's like giving the alley-oop off the glass. It's like Dwayne Wade giving the alley-oop off the glass and LeBron James slamming it down.
No,
that is literally Ben Simmons.
You know what that is? That's like all of us playing our favorite 2K game, and each time we try to go in for an alley-oop or we try to dunk it, unfortunately, there's a glitch in our fucking controllers that's like, I passes the ball.
Exactly. Couldn't fucking agree more. But speaking of basketball, we are halfway through February. There's a virus that constantly goes around during March. And I ain't talking about the coronavirus. Nah! I'm talking about March Madness, baby. Now, there are a lot of teams that are heavy favorites going into the big dance. However, there are a lot of teams that are dark horses. They're Cinderella teams. They look to play the role of upset. Who do you think are said teams that could be Cinderella or dark horses going into the big dance?
So I'll say this, okay? I'm on the UConn train, and I'm not getting off until they prove me wrong. Okay, yeah. They won me a lot of money last year.
Okay?
So I'm going to stay on the UConn train. Now I'll give two teams that I like this year other than UConn. Okay, South Carolina Gamecocks. All right, thank you, Mr. Anderson. I don't know if he's going to be on here today, but he brought him to my attention.
Yeah, absolutely.
I won a couple $100 off of him beating Mississippi or Ole Miss. And then Houston. I watched Houston play a game, and their defense was probably the best I've seen this year. Now, granted, I haven't watched a lot of college basketball, but Houston's defense and the way they played, I liked it.
Man, that is interesting. And you know what? Like, I love March Madness, because it reminds me so much. It's my birthday month in March. So anytime that, March Madness goes along, we got ourselves a show. So, college basketball, following it here and there, especially catching up with the championship matchups as well before we get into the big picture of the March Madness tournament. UConn has been a very strong team all year long. I would also say, maybe pointing out, North Carolina has been that kind of team that has really rose to the occasion. I think,
this year?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Cinderella dark horse? Okay, I like it.
Well, I think as my dark horse, though, my dark horse team that I think could make some noise, keep an eye out on number 13, Baylor. Baylor's program, what they've been in the last few years, they almost kind of translate a similar type of style than what we saw in Michigan State years ago when we saw Cassius Winston and their hard defense. But the other thing they do, they also know exactly how to play smart offense when they're trying to get possessions, get some points in the paint, try to keep the possession on your side. But they know how to defend the wing. They've also been, the kind of team that, when in doubt, keep your free throws exactly where you need them to be, because those are going to be crucial moments when you're playing close games like that. Because Baylor, they're, being down in at least the top 10, 20, ranks, they may not look to be that kind of team that's like, they may not go toe-to-toe against North Carolina, or they might not go toe-to-toe against UConn. But I think we might second that, because here's the thing. You look up at the ranks, and it's like you start to see, well, Kansas has been on fire. maybe they might end up going toe-to-toe against Kansas, and they might upset them, and that might ruin our brackets. So
yeah, and Kansas, if I'm not mistaken, is the defending champions going into the tournament.
Yes, they are. Yep, and they're 4th ranked this year. And so, I mean, out of those 5, between UConn, Purdue, North Carolina, Kansas, and Houston, listen, people told me so many times with Purdue that, like, oh, this team's legit. This team's really good. But why haven't they fucking got through, the first 64 of these teams?
Fuck. Who was the team that they lost to last year? It was like,
oh God, I thought it was
like their fucking basketball stadium was a legit YMCA recreational like basketball court. It was like YMCA fucking Central or something like that.
Yeah.
And they go in and they take down the odds-on favorite, obviously being Purdue because of Zach Edey. It's just fuck.
Remember Florida Atlantic last year? Florida Atlantic.
Oh yeah,
that's a lot of motherfuckers.
I was gonna say, let me talk to you.
Those have always been the 2 programs I don't trust. Purdue, I don't trust unless you give me another reason to actually like say, okay, maybe they might make the Sweet 16. Or Arizona was another one. Arizona keeps puffing their chests out every single year, and it's like,
yeah, they were.
Don't get me wrong, they're a solid program, but it's
like a bunch of fucking chickens pumping their chest. As soon as they came game time,
that's real peacocking right there for you.
Oh my God. No, but last year for real, I was really hoping for a South Beach showdown between Florida Atlantic and Miami. Oh my God. But the thing about the big dance is that you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah. Because I can tell you from just all from all the rankings from top to bottom. I mean, I could see UConn really getting as far as they can. Maybe we might see a little tougher competition if they make it to the Elite 8. Houston is in fact another one, as Mac mentioned before, that is a team to really look out for. But I think as you look at everybody else, I mean, one I probably would keep another eye on is possibly Dayton. Because Dayton has actually played some pretty decent matchups all throughout the year. And so for them to come into the tournament, and if they come in with the hot hand, that might be a team we may not want to sleep on if, in fact, they make the Sweet 16. But I look at, Auburn, not as strong. Creighton looked like they kind of fell off a cliff a little bit. I'm a little concerned about them. And the other thing is, what do we do about Duke? Duke's not the same program without Mike Krzyzewski.
Couldn't agree more.
This is clearly a team that I would be shocked that if Duke actually made the Sweet 16 this year, because this looked like a program with decent kids, but I don't think they have as much of the juice and firepower as we see from UConn and North Carolina.
No, I mean, I couldn't agree more. Ever since Coach K stepped down from the head coach position of Duke, they really haven't been the same team that they normally are, especially when it comes to playing against North Carolina.
I mean, you have to expect that, though. I mean, the level of coaching, you're going from the highest caliber ever, you know what I mean, in that type of category, to now going like you're pedestrian. You're pedestrian. Like it does. Like, yeah, you have a good program. Yeah, you like. I'm not saying the coaches are bad, but I'm saying like losing that type of coach.
Yeah,
you're becoming pedestrian now. Yeah. Whether you can build that back up again, it's all possible. But you have to show me before you can tell me.
Okay? But what's funny about that, Mac, is that you even have to look at how North Carolina rebounded themselves when Roy Williams retired. I mean, those were 2 of arguably one of the top best coaches that we've seen in college basketball history. And another one that, like, I wasn't sure about how North Carolina was going to rebound, but sure enough, it seems like they found their guy. I think they've also found a bunch of really good specialists, whether they're on the starting lineup or in the bench, that could give you points, give you minutes, and even give you much-needed clutch stops when you need to be able to win these close games. And I think North Carolina's done a lot to really prove themselves. Hey, we can rebound ourselves. Yes, we lost a great coach, but we've proven ourselves. We've got the guys. We're ready to make some noise in March Madness.
I mean, I was even going to say the last time that North Carolina actually made some noise was when they had Tyler Hansbrough.
Oh, man. You're talking memories.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's going way fucking back.
Oh, yeah.
But, man, oh, man, you never know what's going to happen in the big dance. It is single game elimination, and, oh, my God, there's nothing better than the big dance itself. But we are going to move on from college basketball. We are going into the NFL. Why? Because the NFL draft is upon us, gentlemen. Now, the Chicago Bears have the number 1 pick. Thanks, Carolina. The Chicago Bears have the number 1 pick in the NFL draft. However, the Washington Redskins, I said what I said, fucking fight me, because they will forever be the Washington Redskins. They're not the Washington football team. They damn sure ain't the fucking Washington Commanders.
Listen,
anyways,
I live 30 minutes from the stadium. I live 35 minutes from DC. Okay. Every diehard fan still calls them the Redskins. I can promise you this. Like, my buddy still has his Redskin stickers all over his truck, and I'm like, hey, man, why don't you get the Commanders? Because what? Who's the fucking Commanders?
It's like, first of all, why would you trade fucking hogs for, like, you know, military helmets? It's like, what are we joining? What is this, you know?
That's what I'm saying. Anyway, so the Redskins hired Kliff Kingsbury, who knows Caleb Williams quite well going into this draft. Anyways, so Kliff Kingsbury, he is the new offensive coordinator for the Washington Redskins. And like I said, there's some history between Kliff Kingsbury and Caleb Williams. Do the Bears trade the number 1 draft pick just so the Redskins can get Caleb Williams, or do the Bears stay with that number 1 pick and build around Justin Fields?
God, this is a tough one, honestly. I mean, the Bears have – this is what's kind of crazy about this year's draft, is that the Bears have so many open options.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm going to tell you this, though. What they're not going to do is they're not going to take another quarterback from North Carolina. We saw that happen last time when you know, they traded up and they go and get Mitch Trubisky. You think they really have learned from that?
I mean, Drake May was supposed to be a Heisman candidate, and he barely led the Tar Heels to a winning fucking season. They barely got into a fucking bowl game. My God.
Yeah. This is something that I've been hearing from a lot of really good close friends of mine that are Chicago Bears fans and insiders. And the thing about it is the uncertainty, what we've been hearing lately in the last few weeks, is that, one, Bears fans, they want to keep Justin Fields and they want to give him a chance. They want to give him a chance to prove himself and play and prove, hey, this 10-26 record, who gives a shit? I could go and run, I could throw, I could be accurate. Just give me that chance. But remember, the Bears, when was the last time they were ever that good at offense at all? They've been stuck on the 1950s televisions of Monsters of the Midway. We love defense, we love it, but
hold on.
doesn't work.
I'll disagree one time. Mark, when Mark Trestman was with the Chicago Bears as the head coach, he had the first time he had three receivers, and I think it was 3 wide receivers, or a tight end and 2 wide receivers, all had 1,000+ receiving yards. They did have that one really good year with Jay Cutler as a quarterback.
Yes, but again,
you're thinking of 2010, my friend.
There you go.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Imagine it if Johnny Knox did not end up suffering that back injury that he did that ended up ending his career. I mean, the guy was explosive. The guy was great. I mean, hey, I remember the year when they had Bernard Berrien, they had Desmond Clark, they had Greg Olsen. They have a lot of these offensive guys. But the fact of the matter is, at least in the quarterback position, their two best quarterbacks was Jim McMahon and Jay Cutler. You couldn't get it done with Cade McNown. Yeah, you had Jim Harbaugh for a certain amount of time. Then he goes to, the Chargers, and it's just like you've gone through an overhaul of quarterbacks. I think they're the leaders of the most quarterbacks taken in that franchise. Second is probably the Raiders, because it's like
I mean, look, like you're saying, the way I'm putting it is that they are the most dysfunctional franchise since Jay Cutler. That it's like, oh, we're gonna draft up to get Mr. Trubisky. Oh, it didn't work out with the head coach and the offensive staff that we had. We're gonna fire him. Oh, we're gonna bring in a new head coaching staff and a new offensive coordinator. Okay, cool. We got as far as beating the Eagles in 2017, 2018. That was easily the Bears' best chance to win a fucking Super Bowl, and it wasn't even close. They had a stacked team and a stacked defense. I dare you to tell me otherwise.
And don't forget the most infamous moment of them all. My good friend Cody Parkey of them all, parking the double danger.
The double fucking doink. And unfortunately, because of the head coaching staff, it didn't work out. The front office decided, oh, hey, you know what? Justin Fields is available. Let's look at the weapons that he had in Ohio State. We're going to trade up to get him, and he's going to be our new quarterback.
Okay. My turn as far as the Redskins, okay? The Redskins should not trade up. They should not do anything. They should sit right where they're at. There's no reason to move up for Caleb Williams.
I was going to say, because they have the second pick in the draft, don't they?
Yeah,
they do.
So here, and this is the biggest kicker is that there's no reason for them to move any of their draft capital. They have 5 picks in the first 100 of the 100 picks. Okay, so they have 5 of the first 100 picks, bro. That's phenomenal draft capital. And if you play your cards right, you could get at least 2 or 3 blue chip stars. Okay, guys that are going to start day fucking 1.
Absolutely.
And for what Washington needs to do to completely rebuild, if they hit it right, if they were to go and get their quarterback in Caleb Williams, if they were to get their, possibly an offensive lineman, a defensive lineman, maybe a playmaker, either on, the defensive secondary or wide receiver, running back, just to think if you got 3 or 4 hits this year off of the draft, and Caleb Williams obviously being one of them at number 2, you're talking about in 2 to 3 years, this team could be 100% completely different. You know what I mean? They could be sitting where the Lions are sitting now.
Yeah. The crazy thing is, you look at this draft list from 1 through 5. With the Bears, the Commanders, the Patriots, the Cardinals, and then the Chargers. Any of these 5 could literally, make some moves we ain't seen. The one, and me as a diehard Chargers fan, I'm waiting to see what's going to happen at 5. I've already made my point. I said, you have got to get Brock Bowers. We need another tight end since Antonio Gates, because that is one that Justin Herbert needs another weapon like that, because you're facing twice a year against Kelsey and Michael Mayer. He can only go to Keenan
Allen. Justin Herbert can only go to Keenan Allen. I'm sorry to cut you off. He can only go to Keenan Allen for so long.
Yeah, and there's a lot of adjustments and improvement that the Chargers need to do. But we finally got a grown-up in the room, and he's finally making all these moves. Just as a side note, I've heard news that they are possibly bringing in Navarro Bowman as a linebackers coach. So they are not kidding around. They want to change this chargering narrative that they've been living at for the last few years. So
look, my thing is, it's about damn time that they actually fired Brandon Staley. That dude cannot get out of his own fucking way, even if he was held at fucking gunpoint, for crying out loud.
So much for a so-called greatest defense you spent fucking money on just to fuck us over with at least $40 million over the cap.
You have one of the best quarterbacks and What year was Justin Herbert drafted?
2020.
Oh,
So
one of the best quarterbacks in 2020, and Brandon Staley wasted his talent.
Yep, he did.
Knowing the hardballs and how they like to do things, I would not be surprised if he traded back like 4 or 5 picks, picked up a nice, but like 3 or 4 extra, mid-round picks over the next 2 years, and still get your tight end.
So this is the thought that I thought of, kind of, coming back to the topic is, with Chicago, like the question is, do you or do you not trust Justin Fields? That's what you really have to ask yourselves. Because if you trust Justin Fields, you could possibly end up, making a bid for that pick. New England could be up in that mix. There's a couple teams that could, but that's the one thing. And so for the Kliff Kingsbury hire, I don't know what the fuck happened, in Vegas, but between what may have happened in the meetings or something was said, but it's what kind of turned off Kliff Kingsbury. I know a lot of people are kind of like, well, he sucked anyway. He had Patrick Mahomes at Texas Tech, and they couldn't even end up winning a bowl game with him, and then all the rest of this stuff. But I'm like, whoa, let's slow down for a second.
So we're just going to forget the game that Texas Tech had against Oklahoma?
Right. And it's just like, the thing I look at is you're looking at the difference between Kliff Kingsbury, a head coach. Only one time he's made the playoffs, got his ass kicked against the Rams, but that's it. Maybe we might see him as an offensive coordinator, and maybe he might shape things up. But I don't think the Commanders should move at all. I think they're perfect at number 2 because they're waiting and seeing what is Chicago going to do. In Caleb Williams' camp, which is not that big, they were saying, we're having second thoughts about Chicago. And we've seen players do this before. We've seen Eli Manning say, I don't want the Chargers. I'm going to the Giants. Caleb Williams could do the same thing. John Elway was the same way. You stayed another year in Stanford until you went to Denver.
Listen to me. John Elway comes to Baltimore. I'm a Colts fan. The Colts never leave Baltimore. All right. You know what I mean? Like that changed the trajectory. Like my first 10 years of being alive changed in an instance. Yeah. Because my dad was a Colts fan. They left Baltimore. He was a Bills fan. Like I was born in 91, so I remember 93, 94, 95. Like I remember all that shit. And then my dad, like the Bills lost 4 Super Bowls straight. My dad turned into a Cowboys fan. He was a Cowboys fan. Boom, Cowboys won the motherfucking Super Bowl. Michael Irvin and them. It was awesome. Had the bed sheets and everything. But then the Browns were moving to Baltimore.
Oh shit.
Like I was there the day they announced. Art Modell announced that the team name was going to be the Ravens, and they were breaking ground on that. Like I was there with my dad.
Wow,
like
that's insanity. I've been a Charger fan since I was 7 years old. So I've been in the glory days of San Diego, and we're still called the San Diego Chargers. So that's why I'm like,
that's what I'm saying. I still call the Chargers the San Diego Chargers.
That's what I told people. The minute they win the Vince Lombardi Trophy for the first time in their franchise history, it will not be for the city of LA. It'll be for the entire city of San Diego that's rode with us for years.
Facts. I mean, look, I'm a diehard Giants fan, and I mean, look, my mother raised me right. She was like, look, it doesn't matter how bad the Giants suck, you're going to be a Giants fan. Why? Because the Dallas Cowboys ran the 90s, and it wasn't even close. Thankfully, me being a Giants fan, I was able to witness the greatest upset in Super Bowl history, and it wasn't even close.
Yep.
The Giants versus the undefeated Patriots.
I called that game too. I knew that was going to happen.
I will fight tooth and nail to that.
Yeah, but like I said, my point with Chicago is that there's 2 things they could do. If you take Caleb Williams, ultimately you got a new offensive coordinator now. You bring in Shane Waldron, who now, this is going to be interesting. You want to do something to help with this offensive room. But here's the thing. They have DJ Moore. you know what he's capable of. And Carolina is shooting themselves in the foot with the fact that they had to sacrifice this many picks. So now you're trying to salvage what you know you had to give up hefty. But however, the point of it is that if you go with a new quarterback, it's now a new system. You got to now develop him. And here's the thing. Matt Eberflus is not a terrible coach. At least he was able to fix his side of the ball on defense when Montez Sweat got there. Because once he got there in the first few games, he already had a total of 6 sacks in Chicago. So it's like he's doing something.
It was like 2-3 years ago, the Bears went 3-14. They had an amazing record after the first 4 weeks of the season, and then after that, they just went completely downhill.
Yeah, they went downhill. But that's the thing is that if that's what you choose to do go with the quarterback and get Caleb Williams, then so be it. It's going to end up changing. But I will say this: you go with Caleb Williams, and Justin Fields is not happy from there. I could see him be a perfect fit in Seattle. Because the Seahawks, honestly, you're reunited with Jackson Smith-Njigba. You got DK Metcalf. You got a run game with Zach Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker. And
I was just going to say.
You got a lot of that there in Seattle, and why not? People have kind of dismissed the whole thing, but I'm like, I could see that happening. You go and get maybe a second rounder or maybe, something to fill the void. But I think
another good fit for Justin Fields would be the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yep, another one too. And the thing is like Pittsburgh, they've been great with offensive weapons. But the other
Atlanta, he can go to Atlanta.
Oh, dear God.
To Atlanta. Atlanta has some really good
to Atlanta.
Honestly, I would rather them take Michael Penix and get Mike Vick 2.0 in Atlanta.
Ooh,
that's what I would love to see. That's a guy who is great in the pocket. Yes. Yeah, that kid
listen, I'm not gonna lie. Like if I had to, you put a gun to my head and say, listen, which quarterback is gonna be at least good to decent or possibly have more than a 10-year career, I'm going Michael Penix.
Oh yeah. I mean, 100%.
Look, even the quarterbacks going into this draft, I trust Michael Penix Jr. and J.J. McCarthy more than any other quarterback in this draft.
You know what's funny? I said this too, is that the other sleeper that I guarantee you, and he was a Heisman finalist that is probably going to make some noise because he's played so many games now in college, only had 3 picks in his career since he's been in Oregon. And then at the same time, he's been at the Senior Bowl. Look out for Bo Nix. I have him being my sleeper as a quarterback. And honestly, I live now, my hometown, I've been in Vegas my entire life. And I live in Denver. And I'm like, Denver, you want to make this right after getting Russell Wilson? Go get Bo Nix. That kid, you got Cortland Sutton.
Bo Nix under Sean Payton? It makes so much sense.
Who is Radler? I remember
Spencer
Radler.
Spencer Rattler.
Yep. Yes.
Spencer Rattler was another one. But at the same time, I would rather him go to a system that's already established and slowly build him up to where he'll be primed for the future. But the thing is, if Chicago does not trade Justin Fields, and let's say they don't take Caleb Williams, they could easily piss off the Arizona Cardinals and go get Marvin Harrison Jr. You could get the best wide receiver from there because now you're doing Justin Fields a solid. You get him an offensive coordinator. You get him another weapon next to DJ Moore. Darnell Mooney, from what it sounds like, he's probably going to end up hitting the market. And there's choices. They said either Kansas City or the Chiefs is where the Chiefs or the Chargers would go and get Darnell Mooney. But the other thing is
tight end.
Yeah.
Commit.
I've been saying this for a long,
because that's the only person you didn't mention. And I'm like, dude, he's got more. They get Marvin Harrison Jr. Oh shit!
I've been saying this for a long fucking time. The Bears need to build around Justin Fields. Now, obviously, it boggled my mind the fact that it was like, oh, we're gonna fire everybody except Matt Eberflus. But, like, are you kidding me?
And in Eberflus's defense, like I said, he managed his side of the ball. That's why Montez Sweat, for as many games as he played, he's had that many sacks since he's got there. And not to mention Jalen Johnson. That kid is a stud at a corner. That's one guy that if Chicago doesn't bring back, you could see him open the market and guys are going to be willing to spend, because that is the one position that is hard to perfect is corner. So you get a solid corner on your team.
I saw it like this. It was like, look, Justin Fields in the pocket, he was a fucking pussy. But when he was given free reign to do what he needed to do, obviously DJ Moore showed out. Cole Kmet showed out. If they get Marvin Harrison Jr. and they build around Fields, we're looking at Ohio State Justin Fields.
By the way, how good has Tevin Jenkins, that offensive lineman, got for Chicago? That dude is a stud there at the line. He's got so much better. I think this was his second year in the league. Got so much better than his rookie year. So if you could beef up the offensive line and really keep that offense consistent, maybe Chicago can tear away this whole narrative that they can pivot to offense, because they've always had a great defense for as long as the franchise has lived. But for the record for Washington, whatever quarterback comes into this system, this was probably the second best job that you could get next to the Chargers, because you have a brand new ownership, you got a smart general manager in Adam Peters, and now Dan Quinn is a part of this. What was the problem for Washington? They could not do well on defense. They lost both their pass rushers. They're kind of questionable when it comes to the secondary, but what is the one thing that kept them alive? You got weapons. You got a solid run game. You could probably beef up the offensive line a little bit more, because good God, how the fuck does Sam Howell have this many sacks in a year? And then we're already wanting to get rid of him.
Before Terry McLaurin requests a trade out of there.
Yeah. This is why I'm like, you got to kind of make this right. So whether it be Jaden Daniels or it may, because I don't see Drake May honestly working under this system respectfully. I don't think he might work in this, but Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, or maybe even you go and get Michael Penix. I mean, but that's the offense you're going to have to end up pivoting towards. And maybe during the second round, you could get a solid mid-radar wide receiver if that's what you choose to do.
Absolutely. I mean, you already have the 50 Cent of running backs in the backfield being Brian Robinson Jr.
Yep.
And on top of that, you got arguably one of the best wide receivers being Terry McLaurin, for crying out loud.
And the second best one with Jahan Dotson.
Absolutely.
That's why I'm like, you've got plenty of options, because New England in number 3, they're going to take a quarterback. That's a given. And Arizona, they're hoping Marvin Harrison just falls on their lap.
Oh,
because even I said this, because one of my breakdowns was because the one thing Washington needs is they need a pass rusher. For me personally, and I look at the Chargers at number 5, and they say, hey, we might actually still be able to get a quarterback even if we go down to 5. But we give you Joey Bosa and a couple picks in order for us to get maybe a late first round in order to go into the second round, and then we still get our guy. But if they don't choose to go tight end, they could easily piss off Arizona just as much and go get Marvin Harrison next to Keenan Allen, and then you trade away Mike Williams for a couple picks. It's like
Big Mac, what you got to say in all this?
I mean, look, as far as the whole situation goes, bro, Michael Penix Jr., I just find him, he can come into almost any offense, learn it, okay? He's proven to be smart. He's played and put up big numbers.
He's a pure thrower.
Now the whole thing is like, if there was any offense I want to plug him in, believe it or not, and that sounds crazy, Washington. I want to see him with Kliff Kingsbury. Are you kidding me? He's going to fucking have them guys flying down the field, and as soon as them guys drop into coverage, cover 2, everybody man up, boom, Penix is gone. That's 30 yards you're giving up almost every goddamn time you do that shit. And this ain't Kyler Murray. This motherfucker is going to throw a dime 60 yards down the goddamn field to the outside numbers. Like, and he's going to push the fucking ball. He's not going to be scared. And that's that for me.
No,
that's
absolutely. And we saw that in the national championship.
Like, I mean, I'll give the, like, this guy knows what the fuck he's doing. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now, again, you put him with top NFL like receivers and weapons, and you got a running game. You do have a couple decent offensive linemen, like, and it's just like you put him in there. It's just like Lamar Jackson for the Ravens. Without Lamar Jackson, the Ravens are shit, kaput, nothing. With Lamar Jackson, we're gonna win. We're gonna win because he's gonna figure out a way to win that goddamn game.
I mean, I was even gonna say, like, when you said Washington, my mind instantly went to Washington State. Like, you put MPJ under center for the Seahawks with a wide receiver like DK Metcalf? Oh, they're dangerous. They are so fucking dangerous.
And he's familiarized in the state of Washington, and so like he doesn't even have to go that far. I think of that with the Seahawks. I think of that with the Atlanta Falcons, with Drake London. And you've already got a solid, two-headed monster in the backfield with, Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier. You can make that work.
The Falcons do have weapons. So if they are smart and get MPJ, oh, my God.
And you could finally get Kyle Pitts to go off for 1 year. You could finally get him to go off. And, but I think that's an interesting part. But the thing is, too, you're getting an awful lot of trust with Dan Quinn, because who is he going to find? He's going to find his next pass rusher since he built up Micah Parsons. And then at the same time, he's going to shape up that secondary exactly the way that they want to shape it. But I will say this, as it pains to kind of say, yes, Kliff Kingsbury gets the job. But for fuck's sake, when are we going to honestly see Eric Bieniemy get a fucking head coaching job? This is ridiculous.
The dude deserves it.
Watch this?
Look what he did with the Chiefs. Bro, look what he did with the fucking Redskins, for crying out loud.
Yeah, I would take him any day.
Absolutely.
What's funny about that, I was not opposed to bringing him in the Chargers as an offensive coordinator to get him up there, because Jim Harbaugh's a big name.
Listen.
And think about it. He used to be a runback for the Chargers.
That is an alpha.
Jake the Snake,
he is an alpha.
A dangerous game. Eric Bieniemy is the OC and Jim Harbaugh as a head coach. Oh my God,
it would have been something special.
This is what
next season, and it's not even close.
Oh yeah,
like it would be toxic. That would be a toxic combination.
Oh, Kansas City might as well run after all of that.
The Raiders signing Antonio Pierce, who has that like 1980s mindset. For me, the Raiders signing Antonio Pierce was a great signing for the Raiders. And my God, like,
and finally,
this was winning games with Aiden O'Connell. Who the fuck is that under center?
And think about this: the defense that he had since he's been the coach, they've held opponents to 16 points a game, because Max Crosby was going
Adams was like, bro, teach me.
And think about it, because like when this dude comes in, it feels like I'm walking into Compton. That's what this feels like when I look at the Raiders and find a fucking lead. You listen to the Raider fans.
Be known. He's like, I'm trying to bring the LA Raiders, that NWA straight out of Compton vibe, to this team, to Las Vegas. It fucking worked, my guy. I'm sorry to cut you off.
And think about this, because now they finally learned their lesson, since they would have done this with Rick Bisaccia at the time. Once they let him go, it's just they opened a whole shit can of worms after that once they got Josh McDaniels, and he clearly doesn't fucking work in this league. You are still Brady's bitch. You are still Brady's bitch. You're the reason why you don't even have a coaching job. It's like,
I mean,
But
look,
I'm
I
happy
even
for
went into the season that it was like, oh my God. So Josh McDaniels is the head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. He went into a shit show when he was the head coach of the Denver Broncos, when it was like Jay Cutler and Tim Tebow. When he started Tim Tebow, obviously we saw what we saw, but the Raiders had their quarterback. They had Derek Carr. They couldn't do a damn fucking thing.
Nope. And think about this, because Derek Carr, what hurt about this whole relationship is that they've had the 32nd ranked defense ever since he's been the quarterback for the Raiders. They couldn't fix that side of the ball, and they kept blaming it on Carr. Move him out of here. Move him out of here. He goes to the Saints. And here's the one thing that I will back up on this is that Derek Carr, you go to a fucking top 15 defense in New Orleans and Baker Mayfield shit on you in the division? How do you let that happen? And
it should have been.
Why is Dennis Allen still the head coach over there? He's won 35% of his fucking games. What are you doing, Mickey? And you've got $80 million over the cap.
Joe Flacco won comeback player of the year. But
yeah.
But look, Baker Mayfield easily should have won comeback player of the year. Like, it should have been down between Joe Flacco and Baker Mayfield. And
this is the thing, is what I don't understand is, and on defense, is Joe Flacco only played in December. Okay? He only played in December.
Off the couch and he was throwing for 350 yards.
Yes, but here's the thing. Baker Mayfield made the playoffs with a defensive coach. A year after Brady retires, you rejuvenated Mike Evans, who's probably don't want to leave the building, and you want to play. You beat the fucking Philadelphia Eagles
32-9 for crying out loud.
If that's not enough to be comeback player of the year, I don't know what it is. And here's the thing. You go from a pressurized organization in Cleveland. You then come to realization about yourself in
Cleveland
Carolina.
Screwed the fuck up trading Baker Mayfield.
Oh, yeah. And think about this. He then comes to realization of himself in Carolina, like, look, I need to be better. Yeah. He goes, and Sean McVay gets credit for this. The second they brought him into LA,
didn't even know the fucking playbook for 24 hours, and he led a game-winning drive against the fucking Raiders.
But that's the beauty of the mind of Sean McVay, and that's where Baker Mayfield got better at it, and that's what got him the contract. Now it's going to give him an extension with Tampa Bay.
Yeah,
for sure.
I was going to say, Big Mac, what you got to say?
Bro, I completely agree with everything. Like, I mean, there's not much rebuttal here. But I do have trivia whenever you're ready.
Yeah, no, for sure. Throw the fucking trivia. What you got?
So it's New York Giants and New York Yankees based. I will do since we're now at the halftime point of the show. I'm
gonna have to get my New York Yankees hat on.
Oh God!
Yes, sir.
I am a Yankees fan. Unfortunately, I grew up at the wrong time to be a Yankees fan. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, I've been to the best days of the Yankees, man. Like the first game I went to, I was 6 years old. They played the A's, and that was when Jim Abbott was on the mound. That was that stacked 2001 team. That was the best.
The most iconic play I remember was the Derek Jeter flip play in the playoffs against the Oakland Athletics.
And now you're looking at potentially the future, now the Las Vegas Athletics.
Yes.
So, but for God's sakes, can we please give some love for this fucking organization? Like, I'm tired of these guys. They build all these prospects, trade them all away, rinse and repeat. You can't end up making, you can't make the World Series. It's just like, this is ridiculous.
I mean, one dude they need to build around is Ricky Bleday, if I'm not mistaken.
Jeff Bleday, yeah.
Yes.
Yep. JJ Bleday, yeah.
Yes. So what
and
is
Shea Langoliers?
Yeah. So what is the question you have for us, Big Mac?
First up is Giants. What year was Victor Cruz signed by the Giants?
Oh, I want
And now remember, he was undrafted.
Mm-hmm. I want to say so.
I think that was 2010.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I remember.
Got it. You got it in 2010.
Yep, I was gonna say. I remember in 2010, Eli Manning contacted him to have a practice session, and then going into 2011, he was arguably the greatest breakout star.
And you're coming off of a team that is moving on from Plaxico Burress and Amani Toomer.
Oh,
Yeah.
Plaxico, why? We could have got back to back since the Patriots.
So the next question, you're gonna have to dig in your bag a little bit. How many winning seasons did Jim Fassel have in his 7 years as the Giants head coach? I think it's Jim Fassel, or it's Jim.
Yeah, Jim Foss. Yeah, Jim Fassel.
Yeah.
I almost want to say between 1 and 2.
I was gonna say this is easily before my time
Because that was the year because that was the year he had Kerry Collins.
I was gonna say
it was 3 years.
I was gonna say the two
One
things
of
I
those
remember
years
about the Giants was my mother preaching to me about Scott Norwood missing the kick in the Super Bowl between the Bills and the Giants. And then oh my God. Unfortunately, Baltimore had a fucking team that year in 2000, the Bullies of Baltimore.
You had prime Ray Lewis. You had you still had a veteran, Shannon Sharp.
Absolutely.
And Jamal Lewis. It's like, oh my God.
Team to be featured on Hard Knocks for crying out loud.
And here's the thing. The one thing that they don't get credit for is that Super Bowl, the defense did not get scored on. Not one time. It was that fucking special teams.
Yep.
Special teams is how they scored that touchdown. And that thing, the greatest defense to ever play. Everybody can say the Bears, but again,
Baltimore plays hard.
2000 Baltimore Ravens defense,
the passing defense, the run defense. It just for me again, like I said, I'm biased, but greatest defense ever. All right, next question: who joined Michael Strahan as a Giants Pro Bowler in 2002?
2002. Oh man.
Ooh, that is a good.
That's a good one. I have to literally go way back on that.
Wow, my mind really went to Justin Tuck, O.C. Umanura.
I even thought of Antonio Pierce, but it's way back when.
Yeah.
Way back then.
Oh my God.
He's the tight end.
Oh, Jeremy Shockey.
There we go.
No.
I could actually, you know what? Yeah, you're right. Yeah, Jeremy Shockey in 2002. Oh my God. And I'm surprised at that because not even Tiki Barber ended up making it up into that Pro Bowl. Wow.
Hey, I'll tell you what, Jeremy Shockey, part of the greatest college football team of all time, the 2001 Miami Hurricanes.
Yep.
All right.
Man, that team was stacked.
So the next question, and this is the last Giants one. Okay. Now I don't know if you guys are actually going to know this question, but it's more of a fun. You're going to learn something. How much did Tim Mara spend to buy the New York Giants in 1925?
Ooh. Tim
Mara.
Wow.
That is a good question. Wow. I want to say
1925. It was pretty cheap. I almost want to say it's almost between the range of 75-80 million. Especially with the way the economy was in the 20s.
Yeah.
Okay. So $500. In 1925, he paid $500 for the New York Giants.
You gotta be shitting me.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
No fucking way.
Stop. $500. What the fuck?
I mean, he's got a good point. I mean, $500 in the 20s. That's essentially like millions, possibly billions in today's era.
Jesus.
All right. So the next one, Yankees. Okay.
Oh, here we go.
In 1956, who became the first Yankees player to win a World Series MVP award?
I want to say Roger fuck, who was that pitcher? Oh my god.
Oh shit.
Don
Don Larson.
Don Larson.
That's it. Wow. Why was I thinking Roger fucking Maris?
So,
oh my
incredible
God.
pitching game against the Brooklyn Dodgers in Game 5 cemented his status.
Perfect game. Yep.
In the 1950s.
In the World Series.
Yep.
Oh my god.
An honor taken home by the Yankees
grandpa
players.
is rolling over in his grave because of the fact that I didn't know that. My mother has a picture frame of the day that my grandpa played hooky to see Roger Maris and Don Larson pitch a perfect game in the World Series. And I witnessed David Wells pitch a perfect game.
Holy shit.
Oh my god. I
funny side note of that,
feel the slap of my mother across the face.
The funny side note of that is I went into Hobby Lobby one time because I was getting a picture framed, and it was actually a drawing that my parents had in the garage for 15 years, and it was a Babe Ruth drawing getting framed. One of the gentlemen that walked in the same side getting it framed was like, "That's a beautiful picture," and all the rest of it, giving me compliments on it. And turns out the dude was really close to Don fucking Larson. He was like, "I'm going to go and have dinner with Don and his wife." And I'm like, holy shit. Like, yeah. Insanity.
I mean, look, for me, the greatest story I ever heard was the fact that my mom told me my grandpa played hooky from his job, went to go see Don Larson pitch a perfect game. He didn't know it at the time, but he pitched a perfect game, and all days that he plays hooky, he witnesses a perfect fucking game.
God, that's insane.
In the World Series.
Okay, while we're on Yankees pitchers, which longtime Yankees pitcher is MLB's all-time leader in postseason wins?
Ooh.
That's a good one.
There's a lot that come to mind. I want to say Andy Pettit.
I was thinking that too.
You got it. That's it.
Oh, no shit!
Yeah, he recorded 18 of his 19 postseason victories.
That is true, yeah.
And 40 of
scary
it, 44
pitcher.
postseason starts.
Wow.
When he did and he just gave the angry eyes. Oh my god!
5 World Series.
Yep.
Oh,
God, Pettit was the shit.
That was the scary dude walking when he put his glove up past his nose and you only saw the eyes. That is a checkmate game, my friend.
All right, I got one more, and maybe you know this one, maybe you don't. What was the name of the Cubs pitcher that Babe Ruth hit his famous called shot home run off of during the 1932 World Series?
Fuck, this one's gonna get me.
Yeah, you ain't gonna get me on that. I'll tell you that.
Fuck.
Oh. So the only reason I knew it before it had because I did a trivia thing. That's where I got the questions from, and I tried to find the harder questions.
Okay,
just so it's fun. But
these are some really good questions. I ain't even gonna lie.
Yeah, no. So I watched the Babe Ruth movie, the Babe Ruth biography, and that's why I know his name. It's a whole scene about the last time he does it because it's at Wrigley Field. So that's the big sheen of it. So
I mean, look, I was gonna say the only reason I know Babe Ruth is because it's Babe Ruth. 714 home runs, and on top of that, the name featured in the greatest baseball movie of all time being The Sandlot.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the whole thing is it's not even how many home runs. It's look at what he did in the dead ball era. Let's think about this. How tight do you think you could have hand twine something versus how tight a machine?
Yeah,
like you're talking about something completely different. And
I mean, look at today's pitching.
Wow. Could you imagine what Babe Ruth could do to a ball now? And it's just like, and it's the same thing. Imagine how better in shape Babe Ruth would be.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's just like with all the same thing. So it's a back and forth. But the answer, okay, in Game 3 at Wrigley Field, Ruth made a hand gesture before clubbing Ruth's pitch over the wall in dead center, and his name was Charlie Root.
Charlie Root. Wow.
So
never would have gotten that.
Yeah. Nope. So the Babe, the movie with John Goodman. So it actually has the scene where he's literally Root's talking shit to him, right?
Ooh.
To call him a fat ass and everything else, and so Babe's like, yeah, and he calls his shot, and then fucking dude
points to that. That's all he had to do.
Talk shit. All right, fat ass, try to hit this, and
and this was a man that had a diet based off hot dogs and fucking beer at the time, for crying out loud. Oh my God. Oh, okay. Look,
back to regular scheduled program.
Look, much like you, I cannot wait for baseball season to start. It cannot come any fucking sooner.
The Orioles are still building. We're still building. Just the quiet.
Oh my God! Didn't they get Corbin Burns?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a dangerous rotation for a young team like that.
Honestly, I'm happy for Baltimore. The fact that they literally got bought for that much. Now you got money in the cap. You finally can extend Gunnar Henderson and Adley Rutschman, and you're doing this way before Jackson Holiday's rookie season.
Like, I mean, crying out loud, I had a talk with my former neighbor. Like, look, the fact that the Orioles and Rays are battling it out for first place in the AL East, the SEC of baseball, for crying out loud, and the Yankees and Red Sox are at the bottom of the division. It's no surprise that the fucking Toronto Blue Jays were the middle team of the division, but that's not the point. The fact that the Orioles and Rays were the top two teams of that division really spoke volumes. They have both teams have a young team. They have the hitters. They have the power hitters. They have the power. They have the rotation.
No. The pitching is gone. Tampa Bay lost. Yes, the Rays lost.
Tyler Glass now is with the Dodgers, and then but you do have Shane McClanahan, so that's why I'm like, you do have that ace.
Well, hang on. The Dodgers really spent $1.2, maybe $1.3 billion just to casually choke, in the playoffs, like they always do when October rolls around, baby. Yeah. Tell me I'm wrong. You tell me I'm fucking wrong.
I can't wait to go to a Rockies game just to see Ohtani and the Dodgers literally play the Rockies and Coors. Oh my God.
I would.
You want to talk about it? You want to talk about a sorry franchise right now with all their shit that they got? They're just sitting on Chris Bryant's contract.
Chris Bryant. The dude really had the options between the Rockies and the Philadelphia Phillies, and he went with the fucking Rockies.
That's fucking Vegas mentality for you, and I know this better than anybody, man. I mean, I was in seventh grade once fucking Bryce Harper went from CSN to go to the pros, and so it was like, and then hearing Chris Bryant in Bonanza High School, you had Jason Shreve, the Yankees reliever at one point, went to Coronado, and then you got Joey Gallo from Bishop Gorman, who started, hitting bombs because that's all he does.
No way. Joey Gallo is from Las Vegas?
Yep.
Wow.
So the good thing about the Orioles, we actually don't need to sign anyone for about 2 or 3 years. I mean, big contracts. We're still a couple years away.
But
Bautista that's going to be coming back soon?
But focus on pitching for fuck's sake. When was the last time? What was the last
Their
time?
pitching is focused. Even Felix Bautista is going to be coming back.
But this is what's funny. They haven't had a legit rotation since 71 with fucking Jim Palmer and McNelly and all of it's like
83 wasn't bad. 83 wasn't bad. Okay, we won. We won that year. Okay.
But have you had a rotation filled with 4 of them with 20 game winners?
No.
Fuck, dude.
No.
Look, the only thing that the Orioles had going for them was Cal Ripken Jr., and it wasn't even close. The Iron Man of baseball, for crying out loud.
And Cal is a part of the baseball operations, which is what you need in Baltimore.
Yeah, no, the entire base that the Baltimore Orioles all have they're all Baltimore-based people. All of them have ties to the Baltimore community. The Orioles aren't going anywhere. No. That was the whole thing. That the fan base, that's what we were worried about. We were worried about some rich motherfucker trying to move into Virginia or some fucking where else. So that's, you know what I mean? That's what we were worried about. But now we have Baltimore-based people that are going to own this team, and now we're finally going to put money into this team. And watch out.
I'm just so happy for them because it's just like, how could people make a laughing stock out of the Baltimore Orioles just because they were dealing with the Chris Davis fucked up contract?
No.
But look at what they did.
We're not going to talk about that. We're not going to talk about that.
It was the Angelos.
Yeah.
Rush fucking Davis. My God.
If you go back, literally, when fucking, when 2016, 2017, the Angelos, the son, okay, mind you, they owned a bunch of local grocery stores, Santoni's here in Maryland, here in Baltimore. Like, they owned a bunch of stuff. Well, the main guy went to Preakness and supposedly lost a huge sum of money. They had to sell all of the restaurants. They had to sell, like, Santoni's shut down. It turned into some Spanish mart. It was just like a lot of things closed. And the last thing that the Angelos had in the Baltimore, it was the Orioles.
Yeah.
So now you've done hemorrhaged all of this money. You can't spend any money because every dollar that comes in the door is going immediately out the door. And it's been like that for almost 10 years now.
And see, this is why, and I've been pushing for this because I MLB has been on my shit list for like the last few years because the reason of it is because first of all, how the fuck could you take this long to figure out, are we playing during the COVID year or not? And like, yes, you shorten the year. That's fine. You get urgency. You get all of that. But the Dodgers
it really took the Dodgers, 32 years in a worldwide pandemic for them to actually win a World fucking Series.
Yeah. They're the short season winners. That's all that they are.
Absolutely.
And think about it. Think about this. They're just like the Lakers with the in-season tournament. You're just in-season tournament winners.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, for crying out loud, the Lakers won the championship in 2020, and it was a summer camp championship, for fuck's sake.
And it's like, and meanwhile, the fucking Braves are laughing at you because they played a full season and they beat the Astros.
And the Dodgers were the heavy fucking favorite going into the 2021 season, but the Braves made sure that the Dodgers, we're gonna fucking win the NLCS.
Oh my God.
There are 3 things when it comes to baseball that are inevitable in life: death, taxes, and the Dodgers losing in October. And I dare you to change my mind.
So the reasons of this, there's 3 reasons as to why of it that MLB's been on my shit list. That was one of them, which was basically figuring out about the COVID year. The second one that really, really bothered me was, look at the Hall of Fame voting. When you put Scott Rowland in, how the fuck does Scott Rowland end up going into the Hall of Fame? How? That dude is literally an average third fucking baseman. He's
for fuck's sake, the
over
fact
Barry
that
Bonds.
fact that Pete Rose really bet on his team and he's not in the Hall of Fame.
Oh God!
For fuck's sake!
And the fact that all these NFL players are getting in trouble because of gambling. What do we say about Pete Rose now?
Oh my God! I mean, look, like, as much as I don't like Barry Bonds, the steroid era of baseball really saved baseball.
It did, and you could not find any other hitter that was the quickest bat as a lefty at all.
You go to the 2000-2001 home run derby when Sammy Sosa was a batter in Milwaukee. He was hitting moonshots for fuck's sake.
Oh God! Even rewinded to the '98 good old boys of summer with McGuire and Sosa.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, we don't give Griffey shit.
Let's go to 30 for 30, the race for what was it, summer or race for? It was a race for something between Mark McGuire and Sammy Sosa, for crying out loud.
And Ken Griffey Jr. was in that race before the injury happened.
And he was au naturel, and he still has a sweetest swing in baseball, and it's not even close.
So the problem of it is that some of these baseball writers, and outside of Peter Gammons and Ken Rosenthal, who are probably my two favorites as baseball writers, the rest of them, they sound so fucking tone deaf because you tried to do this to Long Island's, to Stony Brook's own Craig Biggio. You try to do this to him because he played in an era. He wasn't associated with that shit. He wasn't.
Even Jeff Bagwell on that fucking list?
Jeff Bagwell was on that list too.
Oh my God.
And Bagwell finally went in.
He was one of my favorite batters who had like no shit. I would literally copy his fucking stance because I enjoyed him that fucking much.
And how could we tell that Bagwell was even on roids? Barely. That dude was like pure muscle when you'd see him squat that way and fucking shoot the gaps.
I was going to say, his stance was literally from the back of the batter's box to the front of the batter's box, for crying out loud.
Exactly. And so the thing that pisses me off is that now that was just a wasted Hall of Fame vote. Because here's the thing. Why is Billy Wagner not in there? Why is Jack Morris not in there? I mean, this year, look, I don't take it away from either of them. I don't take it away from Todd Helton or Adrian Beltre or even Joe Mauer. I mean, AJ Pierzynski had a conversation with Ken Rosenthal about this. If we're going to put Joe Mauer in the Hall of Fame, why the fuck is Jorge Posada not in there? And I'm like, but to be fair, Mauer was a very good defensive catcher, to be fair. And Posada, his numbers was because he split between first catcher and DH. So
I was going to say, wasn't Joe Mauer a first baseman at one point?
Yep. He was a first baseman because when the injuries racked up, he couldn't play catcher that much anymore.
Yep.
It was all on the knees.
His knees were shot too.
I could tell you this because like my stepdad, my pops, the funny thing of it is he was a former catcher years ago, like in high school, before he got into a big collision at the plate, tore his ACL, and then that was it. You know who his backup catcher was in high school in Riverside at Ontario?
Please tell me.
Mike Sweeney.
No.
Mike Sweeney was his fucking backup catcher, and that is the reason Sweeney got in the major leagues.
Wow.
That is the reason he got into the major leagues.
Wow. Wow. So I'm about to unlock a core memory, but I believe Mike Sweeney was a roster pick on arguably, or you know what? No, not arguably, the greatest baseball franchise of all time, being Backyard Baseball.
Yeah. Oh, man. And Sweeney with the way that – and Sweeney, one of the best Kansas City Royals hitters. I mean, the guy was a stud. And the funny, like, I come from a baseball background to where my biological father used to be, you know, a shortstop in the minor leagues between the Dodgers, Braves, and the Giants. And his scouter was Mike Lieberthal's dad. He told him to go. He told him to go to Citrus College in California so that he could get in the spotlight. And he played spring training ball with fucking Chili Davis.
What?
Yes. And my mother's originally from Long Island, New York. She loves the Yankees, but she originally used to love the Mets back in '86 when they won that World Series.
Oh, that's unfortunate for her. That is seriously unfortunate for her because since 1986, with 2000 and 2015. The fucking Mets haven't been able to deliver a goddamn thing except World Series fucking appearances, for fuck's sake. Oh my God. Look. Anyways, I could talk baseball all day fucking long. We are on the verge, I think, if I'm not mistaken, pitchers and catchers are on the verge of reporting, for crying out loud. And man, oh man, when it comes to opening day, we are less than 50 days away. I fucking love it, baby. Anyways, we are going to stay on the topic of the Super Bowl since that is the one thing that is coming up this Sunday. Now, when it comes to the Super Bowl, there's always a heavy favorite and there is always an underdog. With the only 2 times I can really think that there was an underdog in the Super Bowl, the only 2 times I can really think that there was an underdog in the Super Bowl was the New York Giants, the 2 times that they played the New England Patriots. I mean, you could even consider the Arizona Cardinals, for crying out loud, as the underdog when they played the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm sorry. I really had to think about it. But yeah, you could consider the Arizona Cardinals in the Super Bowl against the Steelers as an underdog. Unfortunately, for this Super Bowl, we have Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce and Andy Reid, who are no stranger to the big stage. On top of that, we got Kyle Shanahan and the rest of the 49ers, who obviously have some experience at one point. The only person who doesn't have experience is Brock Purdy. So, going into this Sunday, who is the underdog?
I think the underdog on this one, I mean, everybody keeps saying it's Kansas City being the underdog because all playoffs long, they've been the underdogs. They played as it because they were underdogs against Miami, which was insanity to me. They were underdogs against Buffalo, which they tried. This was the year for Buffalo to get the fucking job done, and they failed to do it. And it's all because the second you put the cape on Josh Allen, you can't even rely on anybody else outside of him. And then Baltimore, how do you run the ball once with Gus Edwards and never run again? That was a strange game plan to me. So,
I mean, for crying out loud, the Bills fans had Vietnam flashbacks. Granted, this was due to the weather.
Yep.
But Bills fans had Vietnam flashbacks to Scott Norwood in the Super Bowl against the fucking Giants when he missed that kick.
Yeah, it's just pure insanity to me. But I think, honestly, Kansas City's continuing to ride this train as underdogs. And the reason of this is because their offensive talent is nowhere close to San Francisco's, respectfully. Now, again, the thing is, it's so hard to bet against Patrick Mahomes because he's been in this position several times. Not to mention, Travis Kelce, he's always open. Nobody can end up stopping him in the middle of the field or anywhere that he's open at. And so,
and the offense runs through Travis Kelce, for crying out loud.
It does. And at the same time, think about it this way. When did we even think that Isaiah Pacheco was going to be a hit for the Kansas City Chiefs?
I mean, even look at the wide receivers for the Kansas City Chiefs. Like, they don't have Tyreek Hill.
Nope.
Like, all season long, they couldn't catch COVID if it fell into their fucking laps. But as soon as the playoffs start, they want to start acting like Pro Bowlers? Are you fucking kidding me?
And sometimes people say this all the time. It ain't about what you do in the regular season. It's sometimes how you play in the postseason. But that's where it's all fun. And so, San Francisco, I mean, if you really want to look at a single player that's the underdog, it's clearly Brock Purdy. And the reason of it is because Purdy in the last 2 games he's played has not had the best performance. However, the ability to overcome adversity in games like that has been very strong. So I could see this as a really big underdog story for Brock Purdy with the Niners, because this is a Mr. Irrelevant who had gotten a stacked team to the Super Bowl. And again, you could say it's Christian McCaffrey. You could say it's George Kittle. You could say it's Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk. I don't care. But the fact that you have a last pick in the draft in the Super Bowl is unheard of.
Absolutely.
And so I think San Francisco, this game's going to be close because right now the bet line is at 47.5 over under. I'm taking the under on this. I think it's going to get slightly to about 44, 45. Because
both teams really have a good fucking defense. You have Chris Jones on the Kansas City Chiefs, and you also have Nick Bosa on the San Francisco 49ers. And outside of those 2 guys, both defenses are really stacked.
Yes. And the thing about this is the narrative for Kansas City, that this is arguably one of the best defenses in Patrick Mahomes' era, because he has not had the best defenses outside of Chris Jones and a couple pieces. This is now arguably a team that Steve Spagnuolo has put together. And as you knowing it from a Giants fan, this brings back flashbacks of O.C. Umenyiora, Antonio Pierce, Justin Tuck, and then even, a lot of the secondaries for even Kiwanuka in the linebacker.
Oh, my God. Wow. Thank you for unlocking that memory of Matthias Kiwanuka. I mean, look, even the defense that the Giants had going into both Super Bowls against the Patriots, they had a scary front line going into both games.
And then have Prince Amukamara as one of the corners. It's like, oh God. But this is the kind of thing that Spagnuolo is so used to. So you put together a legit defense for him, he will make it work. And that's why the narrative, it's been mostly about the defense than it has been of just Patrick Mahomes back in the Super Bowl again. So I think you look at the underdog spots. Yes, they're going to give it to Kansas City. It's hard to bet against them on it. But I would love to see what Brock Purdy does in this. But I think this game's going to honestly be a close one from here because of how both defenses have played.
Yeah, no. And look, as much as all signs are pointing to Kansas City to win the Super Bowl, I mean, look, Patrick Mahomes is in his 4th Super Bowl in, 6 years?
Yeah. Fourth one in 5 years, yep.
And outside of that, he's everything that has come to him ever since he's been the starter of the Kansas City Chiefs, he's been in 6 straight AFC championships, for crying out loud. Yep. And it's unfucking real for,
to have him and Andy Reid as one of the best combinations of coach and quarterback, I mean, is spectacular. I mean, we could say that, Bill Belichick and Tom Brady has basically ran this thing for 20 years, but the difference of it is Belichick needed Brady. And that's what made part of his success. Otherwise, he's just a defensive coach. The difference with Andy Reid is that Andy Reid, he's all about his quarterbacks, but he's also somebody that's all about manning his offense any way that he can. He's done this in times in Philadelphia, and he's doing this as well for multiple years with Kansas City.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. So there is a conspiracy theory going around that has to do with Taylor Swift, the 49ers, the Chiefs, the Super Bowl, 58, 5 plus 8 is 13. Like, it really has to do around Taylor Swift, and I think she had a single that's like 13 or something like that.
Yeah.
But word on the street is that if the Chiefs win the Super Bowl, Travis Kelce is going to propose to Taylor Swift. Is this a good or bad image for the NFL?
So here's what I'll say about this, because a lot of the reactions between this Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift kind of thing has been
I'll be right back.
Has been loudly recognized by machismo fans. And the reason I say this is because a lot of them, they've overreacted to the whole thing. Now, get it. None of the annoyance, I can tell you this, none of this whole thing is on Taylor Swift, because Taylor Swift is very economically smart. I mean, to be working as hard as she does and to basically finally come out to a football game. We don't even know what she does a lot in her personal life. She may not come out of the doors a whole lot. So, but the thing is that she's not the only person that we've seen in football games that has been a big part of, with sports and telecasting, all the rest of this. So I think, honestly, I just say this, prove it to me that this is basically a proposal Travis Kelce's ready to make. Because the thing about this is that I said this from day one, is that I felt like this was a lot of just a financial deal. Because Travis Kelce's smart enough that he basically looks at somebody who's a 12-time Grammy Award winner. She's got #1 hits every single year. And she works hard. And so to me, that's a moneymaker. And at the same time, you got together with Taylor Swift, your jersey sales went up 400%. Your Instagram profile went up, surpassing a lot of people. And I think most of that credit is, from the Swifties. But so this is just crazy. But what I was saying earlier before is that from the very beginning of this whole thing, this felt like a financial loophole. The reason that this is because Travis Kelce is a smart motherfucker to literally look at what he's got in front of him, because you're dating a 12-time Grammy Award winner, and somebody who's got #1 singles every single year, and she's producing.
I believe a pop star billionaire as well.
Yeah, she's now $1.1 billion is her net worth now, surpassing a lot of people. And at the same time, here's what happened, is that the fact that when he got together with Taylor Swift, his jersey sales went up 400%.
Yeah.
Your Instagram followers have skyrocketed and surpassing so many of these big-time guys. And so I'm just like, Travis is fucking smart. And to be honest, I feel like Travis is a fucking gold digger, because it's just dude, because think about this. And the reason I say this is because look at what he did to his ex-girlfriend that he had. She's paying him back a lot of the shit that he paid for. Paid it all back. Yes. And now he's dating Taylor Swift. So this is my thing, is I'm like, whatever happens in the Super Bowl, I don't want to hear a fucking excuse out of his mouth. You are making the reason I say this is because for me, look, I've been born I'm born old school into new school technologies, and I'm born a good old boy.
Absolutely.
Could you imagine average American families who want more money like that? Good God, I don't want to hear shit. And especially from my hometown in Vegas, you're months off from the Formula One race. You now have Super Bowl. You guys are spoiled brats.
Yeah.
So I don't want to hear
shit. And on top of that, you have the Oakland Athletics who are coming to town, and they can easily
The A's owner wants people in Vegas to fucking pay to build the stadium. Fuck you, dude. We're not playing this. Do not California my state. Because it's just, this is ridiculous. But the thing of it is, I'm more of a guy that's like, prove it to me, Travis, that this is really what you have wanted. If you prove to me that this is for real, then do it. But if you're proving to everybody that this is all just a fucking money loophole, then be honest with yourself. Because I'm telling you, I've said this before. I would not be surprised if the two of them ended up breaking up and that motherfucker ended up with so much money and all the rest of it because of it.
I really couldn't agree more. So Big Mac, I know you weren't here for what we were talking about.
I was chasing my 2 pit bulls. They got out the fucking yard. Okay. So,
it's okay. It's okay. Hey, dogs are gonna be dogs. You know what I'm saying?
Jesus Christ, bro. No, because I got 2 females, and they're a little less than a year old, and they're going through heat, so they're trying to get the fuck out. They're trying to go find something. Okay, so bro, they do not listen when off leash.
No, that's fair. That's fair. So I'm gonna circle back with you on the topics that were discussed, but when it comes to certain sports and the All-Star game, we're usually excited about it. I mean, like the baseball, we have the home run derby, and then we have the All-Star game. Football, or let me see here. Basketball, we have the dunk contest, we have the skills competition, then we have the All-Star game. Football, what the fuck has football become when it comes to the All-Star game? What has the NHL become since the All-Star game? I mean, for Christ's sake, the NHL had a skills competition, and Tampa Bay Lightning player Nikita Kucherov literally spent zero energy, for fuck's sake, in this competition, and it was just like.
And Connor McDavid is literally blowing everybody out in the whole competition.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, is it really worth watching for certain sports and the All-Star game? Because we're so invested in baseball and football. Like, is it really worth watching the All-Star game and their competitions for hockey and football? Jesus Christ.
Yeah, the problem is you have to bring back competition. There is no fucking competition. Oh, these guys make millions of dollars. We don't want them to get hurt. Fuck that. I want them to get hurt playing their goddamn best every second that they can.
I mean, look what Sean Taylor did at one of the Pro Bowl games. They're crying out loud. Yeah, this dude knocked the motherfucker out.
Yeah.
Well, and that's my whole point is, like, if you're not playing to the best of your ability, like I said, like, it's essentially the NFL has become TikTok. Mm-hmm. Oh, what gets the most views? We need the most views. We need the most likes. Like, no, like you're pandering people that watch you for 30 seconds to a minute. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Even the catch competition that the NFL had, what was it, like 2 years ago?
Yep.
That was a good competition to have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I said the same thing about the halftime show. Like, the NFL is pandering to a whole different. My whole thing is, like, come on. If you had one person that you were going to bring in for the Super Bowl, like you talking Beyonce, you talking Justin Timberlake, you're talking, you know what I mean, all these. Bring me in for Metallica. Like, you could have had Iron Maiden at a fucking Super Bowl.
For fuck's sake, we had Tom Petty. We had Bruce Springsteen. We had, for 3 straight years, a classic rock.
We had Prince that was up and in there. It was like, my God, yeah.
Yeah, like, can we get the halftime show back? Can we get the halftime show back? Because now it's just like they're treating it like it's an award. We're just gonna have Usher. When's the last time we've said, yeah, let me put that Usher on?
Oh, for God's sakes, why the fuck is DJ Tiesto even up in there? That motherfucker has to retire, for God's sakes.
I don't even know what that is.
DJ, that guy's been DJing
I'm gonna do you one better. When was the last time we actually said, hey, let's see a fucking pregnant woman be the fucking halftime show? Rihanna, I'm sorry, I love you, but for fuck's sake, we could have done better than you for the fucking halftime show.
No, all I'm saying is that them motherfucking things that go up and down, like I've done the rigging for those as a stagehand. Like to walk straight on balance on heels, I give it to her. Like
I give it to her as well. But
so I do gotta say this before I gotta wrap up and end up going as well. So my thing is that the All-Star games that I've seen from the NFL and from the NHL, I would honestly just get rid of them, because here's the thing: is that at the NFL,
give us the All-Star game.
Yeah, and just give us like a competition. That's all that you're looking for. Because if it's just going to be based on competition, then just stick to that. Because the NHL, here's the problem with this: why the fuck are we going 3-on-3s in the All-Star game? It doesn't make no fucking sense. And it's just like, if you're going to have a full All-Star game, have a full 5-on-5 out there. Don't just go with like 3-on-3s to where we're just playing like fucking OT every fucking every game. It doesn't make any sense to me. That's why I'm like, the NBA All-Star game, cool. It's fun. It is what it is. And then you got the dunk competition. You got the 3-point line.
I mean,
and the thing is with
rising stars too. You got the rising stars.
Yeah. And then the MLB, you got the home run derby, which everybody loves. And then I would honestly say maybe sprinkle in a little bit of something. Maybe have a little bit of infield drill competitions, because you want to see who your best infielders, that their timing.
What Japan does, do a bunt competition.
Or even do something with like catchers, the ones with the fastest quick reaction time to second.
Ooh, yes.
I'd be down for that.
I would 100% watch that.
Because it's just like you're showing off the arm. It's like you watch quarterbacks when it comes to accuracy challenges. Why not do that for catchers?
So Yadier Molina would easily be the winner of every competition.
Oh, 100%. I mean, don't count out Buster Posey.
Oh,
I mean, that dude is another one, and same with Salvador Perez. But it's like, I just think that, the NFL, this flag football thing.
Gomez.
Yep.
He was one of my favorites.
Javi Lopez, yeah. Javi Lopez was fun as hell.
I mean, hell, even in this day and age, you got Wilson
Pudge was a good one. Yep.
I won't say Ian, but it's Ivan. They kept pronouncing it Ivan Rodriguez.
Yeah, Pudge. Pudge was great.
Oh, fucking Pudge. Holy shit.
Yep.
I mean, even in this day and age, we got Adley Rushman versus what's his name? Wilson Contreras. That would be a hell of a competition if I've ever seen one.
Yeah. But so long story short of this is that I think if you're the NFL, get rid of this game and stuff like that, and just stick to competitions, because the last time when we watched the Pro Bowl in Hawaii, those competitions were so much fun because it was showcasing wide receivers with the best hands when they're running down routes, and then quarterbacks with accuracy challenges. I mean, you're going to honestly have Gardner Minshew and fucking Jalen Hurts and like
bring back the throwing competition.
The only one that looked so good throwing the deep ball that didn't make it but was so close was CJ Stroud. Everybody else looked like shit. That was like, this is our fucking lineup. And you know what's funny is that Tua was the only one that represented, because Lamar Jackson backed out. And I know why, because he was pissed off because of that loss against Kansas City. So fine, make it a motivation for you. That's fine. And then the rest of them, like Matt Stafford, he backed out. He didn't want to be in it. And then I think the last one, I believe, was Jared Goff because of the loss. That's fine. But at the same time, if this is honestly going to be an all-star game full of backup quarterbacks, which is what it kind of looked like outside of CJ Stroud, and, but just why even have that then? Just stick to a competition to where You're doing all the fun stuff, but at the same time, it's more for the fan experience. You go down there and you basically see all the best players, get the autographs, all sorts of it. I mean, I went to the All-Star game for the NHL in Vegas one year, and I thought it was fun doing the competitions. It was great. They did, the puck challenge where they were doing like the smart passing at the Bellagio fountains with the screen board on there with all of like, the poker cards and all the rest of it. I thought it was cool. It was like you're seeing a lot of Vegas, but it's like without like the whole Sin City vibe. It was more professional. It was fun. But the All-Star game with 3-on-3s is fucking nuts. It's ridiculous. I just think they need to get rid of that.
No, I mean, I couldn't agree more. I mean, like I said, with the NBA, we had the dunk competition. We have the All-Star game, and we have the USA versus, or we have the rising stars of the USA versus the rising stars of everybody that's coming into the NBA around the world.
Yep.
And with baseball, we have the home run derby. We have the
All-Star. You got the future stars of USA and the world. Yep.
Yeah.
So what is the one thing the NFL isn't doing? Like, I'm sorry. I feel like if
the NFL is more American-based. I get it if they want to travel to other different stadiums, because you're trying to get global marketing. No, but here's the thing. You're not getting the European League back anymore. We remember when we had that. And then we had also the Canadian League, which is still there. But you're not even hitting up Canada fucking either. I'm kind of surprised about that. You could hit up Frankfurt. You could hit up London. You could hit up Mexico now. But you're not even going to give your close friends in Canada a call who's playing
and now
CFL.
Going into this season, Sao Paulo, Brazil.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like, yeah.
So what I'm saying is the young stars, the up-and-coming guys that are coming up in the NFL, let's have them play a fucking game.
Oh, 100%.
Absolutely.
We have the Pro Bowlers. They go, they do the competition, they sign the autographs, and then you have all of them second and third tier, real young guys. You say, look, we're going to get these guys to come in, and we're going to play a game, and we're going to have the Hall of Fame coaches coach this team of young up-and-coming stars. And that's a fucking competitive game.
Yeah.
I don't want to see them guys play flag football. I want to see them guys hit, make plays, run offense, run defense.
I want to see them make a Sean Taylor type of hit.
But I will tell you this, guys. I hate to kind of cut things short and all the rest of it, but I know that I got to go. I appreciate you guys having me up on here. For everybody up on the fans, thank you guys so much for tuning in with us and enjoying some great entertainment. But if you guys want to check out more, check out the Snake Sports Talk Show. It's got full of sports and entertainment, best worlds of both. I've got all the best takes, unbiased and balanced, and everything that you need to know what's going on in the sports world. So don't miss that, guys. I'll see you guys up on the flip side, but thank you guys so much for having me. Appreciate you. I knew when you got that True Victory t-shirt, I had to go and wear mine, man, because I'm representing myself too, man.
Hey, I saw the link in your page. Again, thank you so much for coming on to this show. It was just such an honor to have you on to this show. I'm so glad I reached out, and I'm so glad you were able to come on to the show. And it was a blast having you on here, my
Absolutely.
Man.
Thank you guys so much. Shout out to you guys.
Pleasure, man.
All right. Take care, you guys.
Absolutely. You take care as well. All right. So, like I talked with Jake the Snake, so going into this Super Bowl, there's obviously it's obviously an underdog versus a heavyweight matchup. We got Rocky versus Apollo Creed. Fucking 2007, we got the Giants versus the undefeated Patriots, I should say. Hell, we even have the Arizona Cardinals against the Pittsburgh Steelers. But going into this Super Bowl, it really doesn't seem like there is a underdog. So in your opinion, who is the underdog going into this Sunday?
Kansas City, 100% Kansas City. And the whole thing is like, take Patrick Mahomes, Brock Purdy, let's take them out. You know what I mean? Kansas City, absolutely. You know what I mean? Patrick Mahomes is the better quarterback.
Okay.
Let's run down the rest of the list of positions because San Francisco's got him at pretty much every other fucking position.
Absolutely.
They have somebody better. And I'm talking offensive line. I'm talking defensive line. I'm talking
I was going to say,
linebacker.
the only person that Kansas City really has making an argument is Chris Jones, and that's it.
Like, the whole thing, and don't get me wrong. I mean, yes, Travis Kelce is better than Kittle. But, I mean, come on. Kittle is a top 5 tight end in this fucking league.
Absolutely.
So the playing field is level. They could both have a dominant fucking game, go off for 2 touchdowns, and none of us would be surprised.
Absolutely.
Let's be honest here. So when you're sitting here and you're thinking like Patrick Mahomes is the only outstanding player, okay? Then again you have Kelce, and then what? You have Chris Jones, and then Bolton, and then.
I was going to say, like, outside of Travis Kelce,
Pacheco,
you have,
then,
hang on, I actually took a screenshot of, so for wide receivers, you have Mecole Hardman, and he's been decent for a guy like Patrick Mahomes. You have Richie James, dude couldn't catch COVID if it fell into his fucking lap. You have Sky Moore, another dude who couldn't catch COVID if it fell into his fucking lap. Rashee Rice, a fucking rookie.
He's
just
been doing okay.
Who the fuck is that? Kadarius Toney, who screwed the Chiefs on the greatest play in the NFL regular season of all time, and it's not even close. I will fight tooth and nail against that. And then on top of that, we have Marquez Valdez-Scantling and Justin Watson. Those were the wide receivers outside of Travis Kelce for the Kansas City Chiefs.
So I will say this. If there's a dark horse in this playoff game or Super Bowl, the big game, whatever you want to call it, okay, it's Scantling. I feel like he's going to be. They're going to put him in the slot. And I think that's going to be the little difference makers, and that's what Andy Reid does. Andy Reid needs to get his flowers because, I mean, the man is a fucking genius. He understands mismatches. He understands offense. He understands defense. He special teams. I mean, bro, it's hard to trick the guy. All right. So that being said, that's what makes it hard to call them an underdog is because they have Patrick Mahomes, is because they have Andy Reid. So you're like, but let's look on the other side. I mean, bro, you've got 5 studs on the motherfucking offense. Okay, You've got a solid offensive line. Let's talk about that defensive line. Okay, you got Bosa, you got Young, you got
Fred Warner for crying out loud.
I mean, you said what's his name? Greenlaw or Greenland, whatever. Okay, they've got a decent secondary. So again, when you're putting all the pieces together and you're sitting here looking at who's got what, their defense is better, their offense is better. Okay, but can Patrick Mahomes will this team? Can Andy Reid coach this team up? That's and so for me, that's why they're the underdogs here. They're the underdogs. Kansas City is the underdogs because it's like San Francisco. They're playing to not lose. Okay, yes. Kansas City has to play to win. That's the big difference because San Francisco can just go do the motions, right? And they can be good enough just by doing the motions to win the game. They might not win the game by 20 fucking points, but they can win the game.
No, I completely agree. I mean, yeah, Mahomes, Kelce, and even Andy Reid, they've been to the Super Bowl so many times. But Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers offense, they have the experience going into this matchup. Why? Because 4 years ago, they actually faced the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl in 2019, 2020. Unfortunately, it didn't go San Francisco's way. But, I mean, look, the weapons that San Francisco has, they've been up and down. I mean, even going into this game, they are healthy. They have CMC. They have Brandon Ayuk. They even have Deebo Samuel. Offensively, they are stacked. They even have Brandon Juszczyk, for crying out loud. Defensively, it's not even close. Nick Bosa is leading the fucking way. And like I've been saying all along, this is the most vulnerable, much like Alabama this year, that Kansas City has looked. Why? Because their receivers outside of Travis Kelce couldn't fucking catch anything, even if COVID fell into their laps. Kenny, I'm calling you out. I know what I fucking said. So sorry that I jumped on the fucking bandwagon because the Chiefs wide receivers couldn't catch a goddamn thing, and they led the league in drop passes. But oh my God, the fucking playoffs start, and the wide receivers are just like, oh, you know what? Anyways, sorry, LA Knight. Yeah. Appeared on Friday Night SmackDown. Do your thing, megastar. Anyways, like I was saying, God forbid, as soon as the playoffs start, the wide receivers for the Kansas City Chiefs actually want to start fucking catching something, even the common cold.
Yep. No, and that's what I'm saying. That's what worries you, because it's like, if they catch the ball, they can win.
Yeah.
They can win because Patrick Mahomes can put up 35, 38 points, 40 points. Like, he can go bang for bang with you. His defense can give up all the yards and all the shit in the world. He just needs them to make that one stop. And if they make that one stop, that's it. But, I mean, again, I see this, both teams being in the 20s. Like, I see both teams being in the 20s. I don't see it a blowout either way. I mean, maybe it gets to like 8 points spread, but I don't see it being like a 10+ point game.
Oh wow!
They're too competitive. Andy Reid is too good of a coach to just. It's just not going to happen. And Kyle Shanahan has lost the big game multiple times. So
I was even going to say, like, maybe this year's Super Bowl actually ends up being like last year's Super Bowl. Like, Brock Purdy has the weapons, and unfortunately, the fucking Chiefs receivers have been like, hey, you know what? We're just going to decide outside of Travis Kelce that we're going to fucking catch everything that comes our fucking way.
Yep. No, I mean, that's what I'm saying. That's been the difference, because it's like when Patrick Mahomes starts going to Gray, and that's the backup tight end, by the way. But when he throws it to Gray, nobody's covering Gray. Like, nobody's worried about him. They're worried about Kelce. They're worried about Rice. They're worried about the outside guys. They're worried about the cut, you know what I mean, in the middle of the field. So when Gray comes out, does a dummy block, and then cuts off, you know what I mean, up and out 5 yards to the sideline, bloop, right there. He runs it at 7-8 yards. I mean, it's little plays like that where they're like, oh, shit, play him. Next thing you know, Kelce sneaks back behind him. Oh, 25-yard clip. And that's what makes it scary. Then they hurry up, get on the ball. Next thing you know, Rice gets behind the fucking safety. Bongo, touchdown. And that, to me, that's why. Now, the other thing is, you know what I mean? Patrick Mahomes and Kelce and them boys, they have a way with the refs. When they call for flags, they get them. So,
I mean, look, it even showed in the Baltimore matchup when the Chiefs were fucking taunting and doing everything possible, they didn't get a flag. But as soon as Zay Flowers does like a flex on the Kansas City defense, flag on the play. Like, are you kidding me?
Bro, Kelce got in Hamilton's face, spiked the ball in his face in the end zone. There was nothing. Oh, no foul. No foul.
Hey, I'll fucking bring Kenny onto this show and fight fucking tooth and nail. with the AFC Championship. I don't give a fucking damn. Like, look.
For me,
The
though,
only reason that the Chiefs
chop
are
block
in the
is
position that they are in is because Tyler Bass missed that fucking kick, and the Bills need to take their fucking stadium indoors. Because 9 times out of 10, that is a fucking good field goal. And we're going to overtime. You best believe that.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you 100%. Like, Josh Allen, like, could have played better, but he played a hell of a game. He still played a hell of a game. So, that being said, like, yeah, it sucks.
It does.
Put a dome on it.
Wrap
it
up. But yeah, so because of the Super Bowl, so we already talked about who's going to be the underdog. But Taylor Swift has, if I'm not mistaken, a concert in Japan. And if everybody has all their ducks in a fucking row and they fly to Las Vegas, give or take, she should be there by the end of halftime at best. Now, speaking of Taylor Swift, word on the street is that if the Kansas City Chiefs win, Travis Kelce is going to propose to Taylor Swift. Much like the, oh God, who was it? Ian Johnson, the running back from Boise State. He proposed to his cheerleader girlfriend after Boise State, arguably the greatest college football game of all time, Boise State versus Oklahoma, in the Fiesta Bowl. That's it. But yeah, so is this a good image or bad image for the NFL that if the Chiefs win, Travis Kelce proposes to Taylor Swift?
I don't give a fuck either way. Like, it's not news to me. I mean, people say it all the time. People have brought it up to me, like, "Oh man, what do you think about the Taylor Swift thing, man? Like, I know you love football and stuff. How do you feel about it?" I don't give a shit. Shit.
Oh my God, Taylor Swift is actually into fucking football. We should do the fucking same thing.
And people brought up the article about she brought in $300 and some million more revenue to the Kansas City Chiefs. Did they cut her a check? Cut her a check?
No.
I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. If they didn't cut her a check, ain't nobody. Did they cut Travis Kelce a check?
Hell no.
It don't matter then.
The only thing we got from Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift was both of them walking out of the Chiefs locker room, locked arm in arm, and that was it. Other than that, every time that Travis Kelce got a completed pass or a touchdown pass, it goes to the skybox of Taylor Swift, God forbid, cheering her fucking ass off.
So I mean, I hope it's a ruse. I hope it was all just to bring fans in. I hope they break up and she writes a whole album about this stupid shit. Because, I mean, at this point, what the fuck am I supposed to expect?
I mean, God forbid Taylor Swift actually finds a good fucking man.
Like, the fuck, man? Like, and for me, it's just like anything that takes away from the game of football, distraction. My whole thing is like if we call everything that pulls away from the game a distraction, now all of a sudden we have certain celebrities that come in and we gonna put them on a pedestal.
Absolutely.
For what, bro? Do they play football? No, she ain't hiking the ball. She ain't passing the ball. She ain't catching the motherfucker. She ain't defending it. She ain't tackling. She ain't nothing. She ain't kicking the motherfucking ball. Like, no offense, yeah, cool, celebrity, 2 seconds, get you 2 seconds. You know what I mean? Like, bro, the fuck, it's just a celebrity.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason that this bullshit fucking happened was that Travis Kelce, you motherfucking simp, fucking fucking gave Taylor Swift a friendship bracelet, for fuck's sake. Like, are you that desperate to get fucking laid that you can't enjoy your podcast with your brother that you got to give arguably the most popular pop star in the music industry a fucking friendship bracelet and go from there? Nah!
Look, I'm just saying. You know, good for them. Whether it's a ruse, whether it's true love, no matter what. But I can tell you this: if I'm watching the Super Bowl, which I might watch the end of it just to see, but but again, like if Jason Kelce, they're following him on the field with the camera and he's getting down on the knee, I'm gonna go ahead and turn the channel. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's it.
Couldn't agree more.
I'm not interested in that. Like, listen. Like when you're on Facebook and you scroll and you see something you don't like, guess what?
Yeah.
Guess what I learned to do? Keep swiping. You don't have to comment. You don't have to comment. Now, don't get me wrong. If I see something that I know I can say something smart about, I mean, every once in a while, it's good fun. But to go on other people's page and public shit and sit there and think that you are the right and almighty motherfucker, like,
yeah, you think you're the second coming of God, for fuck's sake.
Like, come on, man. Come on. Yeah. Everybody is fucked up at one point in time, whether it be a small fuck up or a ginormous one. Come on, man. So for all of the theatrics that has taken away, like I said, I'm more pissed off about the halftime show that it's fucking Usher. So now I'm like, I don't even want to watch the halftime show. So now it makes me even more not want to fucking watch.
I mean, look, me being a millennial, as long as he opens with "yeah,"
I mean, okay,
I wouldn't be disappointed.
I'll say this, bro. I had 4 sisters growing up. I've listened to more Usher, more Beyonce, more Destiny's Child, more TLC, more like Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera, all of it. I've heard it for years and years, to the point where it was like, if I never have to hear them again, I won't. And I haven't. I've just, like, don't get wrong.
I mean, look, being me, like, the only thing I knew from Usher was the song "Yeah" featuring Lil Jon and Ludacris, and that was it.
So, yeah, bro, when these are my confessions.
Oh my God. Well, look, if I'm being honest, for me, outside of Prince, the greatest Super Bowl halftime show of all time was easily Dr. Dre when he brought on 50 Cent, Mary J. Blige, Eminem, and even Kendrick Lamar, for fuck's sake.
Mm-hmm.
Again, outside of Prince, that was the greatest Super Bowl of all time. But we already talked about the All-Star game for basketball and baseball and what they bring to the table versus NHL and the NFL. Why? Because it's getting fucking boring at this point. I mean, forget the flag fucking football. All right?
Well, I mean, it's just, if you don't have guys that want to play football and want to come out there and play, then they shouldn't be invited to play the game. That's why, like, if you,
the only thing that the NFL flag football is doing is giving Eli Manning, the 2-time Ghost Slayer, right at family dinner, because he's 2-0 against Peyton Manning in the quote Pro Bowl, for fuck's sake.
That's still hilarious.
It really.
I love it.
I mean, look, hey,
I'm just saying, if Peyton Manning would have retired with just one,
look, Eli Manning, you got bars. Nobody told you to go that fucking hard, all right? If you know, you know. Did you see the video on
I did.
Hold me back! The crazy thing is, that's how Eli is.
Dude, he's a great guy.
He really is.
He was a hell of a competitor. I mean, granted, he didn't have the best teams. He didn't. Like,
I mean, even the fucking defense carried that fucking Giants teams.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. So for him, it's just like he played he had a hell of a career. 100% give it to him. Like, he got his ass handed to him multiple years.
Oh my God, he could take some fucking hits.
Like, bro, I thought he was gonna retire before Peyton. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I thought he was gonna retire before Peyton.
I mean, even the 2011 NFC Championship, he took a beating so bad. I really thought after that Super Bowl he was going to retire on the spot.
Yeah.
But man, oh man. Oh, as always, it's great having you here on the show. We had so many fun topics to talk about. You bringing the trivia that you did, man, oh man. Talk about unlocking some memories, for crying out loud.
I try.
Man, so the one thing I look forward to is this Sunday, the 49ers versus the Kansas City Chiefs. It's going to determine a lot of things going into next week.
I'm just being honest, man. I'm going golfing Sunday morning. I'm going golfing. So if I make it back home and I'm sober enough, I might watch the Super Bowl.
You're sober enough.
I'm like, dude, I'm taking my buddy, and he has no clue. He has no clue that I can play golf. He just thinks that we're going out for the first time. Little does he know, my buddy that's meeting us there, he has my golf clubs. Like, I'm 6'6", so I had to get custom golf clubs. Right, so they're
so that's why your oldest son has a scholarship from every D1 college in the fucking country. so
bro, like, if I just hit it nice and leisurely, like 260, 280, right? If I hit that bit, 330. So it's just like, bro, I'm gonna take him out there, and this guy ain't gonna know what to fucking do, because he's sitting there thinking that I'm probably hitting in like the 110s, and I'm like, I'm mid to low 90s, baby. Like, I'm much better than you think I am. Like,
hey, just bring your Jordan Spieth mentality to the fucking game, and you can't fucking lose, my man. Again, thank you so much for coming on to the show. It's always a pleasure.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Peace, brother. Thank you for having me.
Peace out, man. Enjoy the weekend. So, like I said, all you got to I'm rocking True Victory right now. All you got to do is click the link in the description of this video. Click the link that says True Victory and type in No Mercy Sports 15. That's No Mercy Sports, all caps, followed by the number 15, and you can get 15% off your entire purchase. I mean, why wouldn't you? Look, I live in Texas, for crying out loud. This material, it is breathable. It is perfect for the type of heat that comes with Texas, for fuck's sake. It just, when you put this on, when you put the True Victory on, when the wind hits, it feels so good. It doesn't feel heavy. It doesn't feel suffocating. It is lightweight. It is breathable. I mean, like I said, click the link in the description of this video. Click the link that says True Victory and type in No Mercy Sports, all caps, followed by the number 15 to get 15% off your entire purchase. Why the fuck wouldn't you? I am No Mercy Sports. I will see y'all next Friday.